That was probably the best part of the whole show right there was finally getting to have that opportunity to be in front of that live audience like that. Like, a lot of people don't know. I actually opened for my dad on their US and Canadian arena tours. So we would play in front of, 18,000 people a night, and it was incredible experiences like that. So going into that part was probably the least scariest part of the entire show, to be honest with you. People obviously have their opinions, right? But they're not spoken. So when you're in this situation and you're being judged by three accomplished musicians, you're kind of like, that's where that pressure is. So you're excited to be with everybody in the crowd when you get to the those later rounds, but man, the anticipation of what the judges are going to tell you is everything at that point. Once you're in front of a Backstreet crowd, no other crowd compares because they bring energy, they bring passion, excitement. And so, I've been to a lot of concerts. I'm a concert nerd, but there is no concert like a Backstreet Boys concert. When you hear everybody screaming and the show begins, you're like, am I at like WrestleMania right now? Like, what is like like what is going on? Yeah, it's amazing. I feel like you're at the Super Bowl. I would say it's just more um wisdom under the belt as a performer, like doing this for, a good while now and then being able to go on the show and kind of like get a different take, a different perspective on the music industry. The part of, I told producers on the show, I said I walked in as one person and I left the studio as a different person. And it was just based off the pressure, the inspiration, the situations you're put in, learning a song hours before you have to sing it, to little to no sleep and performing and getting sick twice and still going out there and singing. It's like I told him, I said, I probably won't ever be afraid to perform again after these experiences because it really does change you. It prepares you for a life of touring and performing as a musician. Oh, it was amazing. I was still nervous because I would see them in the crowd and I couldn't look at them for too long. Otherwise, I was gonna forget the words to a song or something because I'm like, I'm singing and just I see my mom there, I see my dad, and it was like such a heartwarming feeling for them to be there. And two, for them to come back out to LA for this journey with me and just be close by was great. So I mean their support means the world. It really does. I mean it was it's the business. We're a family that's in the business. We know that the show is, for exposure. It's for, lifting your career to new heights, and that's hopefully what it's going to do for every contestant. So, going out or being eliminated doesn't really affect you much. It's just more about the experience and the exposure. Like, obviously you want to get more of it, or the competitive nature is kind of like, man, I wanted to make it to that next round so I could sing this song or this song, but I mean, it's just part of the business, it's part of the way it is. And I'm lucky to be able to do this and, been able to previously do this for years. So it's not the end of the world, but it's a great stepping stone and a great booster for the career. So I mean, nothing but grateful. They have that's been one of the most inspiring things too, to see how some of my original songs has been able to affect people from my original like Waiting on Myself to Die, my original audition to Hey Jesus, my worship song. Like I've loved how it's been able to change people's lives, bring some people back to Jesus. And then too, just on the other end, people that are struggling with depression or anxiety or things in their life, sometimes my depressing songs, like the one I sang first, it's just deep and honest, I guess I would say. And it's sometimes that strikes a chord with some people and leaves them inspired. So anyway, that's just really what I want to be able to do. And American Idol let me do that, was sing my originals and provide that outreach to people. So that's been the best thing in the world. Yeah, I told them about it. There wasn't much time for us to get in a room and work on it as, I was away with American Idol, but it was definitely nerve-wracking to do your dad's song. And a Backstreet Boys song singing, I Want It That Way or something is obviously super personal too, right? But when you're singing your dad's, Christian music, it's like it's really emotional. It's really just to a whole nother level of personal. So it was I've never probably been that nervous to sing one of my dad's songs like ever. So it was it was a bittersweet moment. It was sad because just the whole premise of the song and trying to bring attention to what happened on September 11th, 2001 was big, but it's also just yes, your dad's song. It's like I don't know. It was an amazing moment that I got to sing it. It was tough to get through, but it was a good moment. It's true. It's very we feel very lucky, and it's something that will always just be in our hearts. And then too, just so many people that lost their lives, and it's just so sad. It's to think that one decision could change, history, something so monumental, generations of family, and so it's sad. My dad lost one of his crew members on that same flight, going home to surprise his wife, because she found out they were expecting their second child. So it's like, there's a lot of loss, and it's so crazy how that event affected so many people. Um, and I mean, it's our world, and it's so sad, but any chance we get, I know we post on 9/11 every year, and it's never forget, but there's really people's stories that need to be told, and not just the symbolism of it, but truly people's stories. So that was also kind of the mission. Being back in LA for the last 2 weeks filming the show, I've got about 10 new songs under my belt, which is great. But I'm gonna actually record "Hey Jesus," the song, my original song that I sang on the second episode during the Idol Arena round. I'm gonna record that this Friday and try to get it out as soon as possible so people can have it. That song has had a lot of requests. I've never been asked to release something so much, so I'm really looking forward to getting in the studio and getting that, done this week. So, AJ's always he's always there. He's always the one that's supportive, and he's like, this is only the beginning. This is just the start. And he was excited to watch the journey. Everybody was tuning in, which made me feel great. My four uncles were tuning in, so it was it was great to have their support. It meant the world. And yeah, we've got more stuff to do. The Bailey train just has to keep on rolling. So I do. I do. I mean, that's got to be AJ. Growing up my whole life, I was always helping AJ pull pranks on people or just hearing his jokes or that was always he was always the humorous one. So other than my dad, I mean, those two are the Clash clowns, and I love it. They definitely did throughout the journey, and that was tough. It was hard to make friends, and it was hard for people to understand me because a lot of people they did have preconceived notions of how I would be, and that's one of the emotional parts of leaving is finally people get to see who you are, and finally I just we kind of set our differences aside or our assumptions of each other and all just started to bond. And so it was a great experience. So when I left, I was like, man, I'm just now starting to know everybody and it's so great. But it was tough at first. I was kind of alone. I didn't have any friends. And then Olivier, who's also on the show, he went out in the round of 20 with me as well. He's pretty much my best friend now. He's French Canadian, he's from New Brunswick. And so we became friends during the whole process and we'll be buddies for life. So it's been great. I absolutely love Desmond so much. He's so talented. So I mean I would love to see Desmond be able to take home the grand prize there and win. Um I mean I'm so torn though because I absolutely love Philo. I love Jay. Um and I love Slater, like Slater's a budding star. So it's just I don't know. I'm like, that's my top three right there. I wish I could get them all in there. I wish there was a top five. I really think, you know, Jelly Roll has kind of taught me too, just to like to own it, to own that moment. I'm always, um, you know, people don't get to see the funny side of me. I'm always usually, very funny. I'm very happy, and then I get in these high pressure situations, and I'm like, I'm reserved. I kind of stiffen up, and so when I get out on stage, I bring the emotion, but there's still this little bit of, fear that's there. Whereas I want to be able to let loose. He's kind of helped me do that. It's just the simple things of opening your eyes, being able to connect with people. And I joked with everybody, including him, about, when I'm looking in the crowd, if I look at something for too long, it just gets in your brain and you're like, you're singing and then all of a sudden you're like, why did I just forget the words? Because this person has a green jacket on. Like, it's just like there's like that level of where to look, eye contact. There's certain points you hit, there's certain people you connect with, and those are those things that just help you as a performer, like our Hawaii round, just running around and jumping and clapping and all this stuff, trying to get the energy of the crowd. That's the best feeling, but it's definitely like a hurdle to get through to get there and be that vulnerable with people. The whole time I was just like, let's hope I don't trip on this little, this step going up from the stage to the little catwalk area. So it was just like those things you think about. But yeah, I mean, their advice has always just been to own the moment, work the stage. Carrie's, telling us every round more, more, and it's because she knows we have more to give. Sometimes when we don't know that, that we possess more. So it's been a lot of great advice. It's been a great journey, having dad growing up too. I heard a lot of the same amazing advice. So I mean, just the art of performing. We all approach it differently. We've never really been that way. Like, he's helped me just try to get happy or excited, but he's like me and he's nervous. So, I'd tell him, "Hey, Dad, I'm scared." And he's like, "Well, if you're not scared, that's how you know you shouldn't do it." And so it's always about, you have to have this little bit of jitters. You have to have this nerve to go out there and really appreciate it and love it. But two, now I find a place I go more towards meditation. Drew Wren, who was on the show, we were both really nervous for that last episode, just because of the results. And so we both did like a guided meditation together, and it was just so cool. We just sat there and, there was a billion things going on around us, and we just both got to just, we checked out together for a moment. And then we had our composure. We were calm the rest of the night. The results, were the results, and I was just happy to be there. So it was, those moments are what helped me. Sometimes you have to think about all your struggles in life before you go out on that stage, because then all of a sudden the things that seem like problems in front of you turn into your blessings, turn into the moments that you have to cherish. So, there's a lot of different ways to look at it, but absolutely not. Absolutely not. This was a great moment in time. I appreciated the run, but the run's over and you got to keep looking forward. I would be tempted if, Lance Bass called me up and was like, "Hey, let's go out. JT doesn't want to do this." I would be like, "Okay, come on." Might be a little younger. My knees might be in a little bit better shape, but you never know. I'm telling you, in all seriousness, probably no. I love it, but if I was ever in a band, I would want to be like the bass player in a band, and I would just want to groove, to tell you the truth. I'm not a dancer. I'm not a dancer. I can't definitively tell you the first time because, I grew up watching it. That's the one thing. Like, so it was always just like, oh, this is how mom and dad met. Like, so I was always showing my friends, I was like, this song? And they're like, "Yeah, I've heard that before." And I'm like, "Well, this is how my parents met." So, and they're like, so, a lot of people still don't know that, which I think is really funny. And I love it. Because then I get to tell people for the first time that it's something just, again, by chance. It's so cool. Beauty of college is I am online, so I take that anywhere. I took 4 years off after high school and just took some time to, gather my thoughts in my brain. I felt like I was not ready for it until now. So school is definitely, I'm debating on, do I take the summer to take a break? I've just been going nonstop with it. But I don't know. Once you start getting in that groove, you don't want to slow down your pace. But it's been great. I'll definitely, keep on with school. LSU has been fantastic. And then two, just definitely not going to pump the brakes on music. I'm going to go full steam ahead. try to get, a record out pretty soon, as well as Hey Jesus. So I'm uh I'm excited for the future. Hopefully I can get some tours going and be able to see some people. So, oh, of course, to tell you the truth, I would have loved to um I've gone in there with just more spunk, just more being less scared and having a little bit more confidence in myself. And it's hard when you're in those situations with lack of sleep or not making a whole lot of friends or camaraderie or, there's just the pressures of the world on you. But it's like, um, I just, there's those moments where I was like, man, I wish I would have done this or that, or, why didn't I go over to this side of the stage, or why didn't I look at this person, or, there's just different things like that. That of course, as a musician, I feel like it's the same moments with athletes as you always just replay the things you could change. And, you know, we don't watch highlights, but we watch our performances back, you know, and see the things we could do differently. Yes, I have I don't put it out there a whole lot just with the last couple of months of content and stuff, but yeah, I've been with my girlfriend Claudia for almost 2 years now. Um, and so we live together. We have a little pet guinea pig and we have our nice little house in the woods, and it's it's been great. It's been great. She did. She was always calling me, giving me updates. Her family is so she's originally from Chicago. Her family immigrated from Poland, so I have my Polish crew in Chicago that was cheering me on, and they were so great. So I loved it. They were so passionate about watching every week, and it meant the world to me. So I wouldn't have. I think, my whole purpose on the show was to get out of the monopolization, even though it was constantly, thrown in my face. And it was just more about being, my own artist, my own person. So it was like I wasn't going to bring it back. Thank you for everybody that's been watching Idol this season. It's been a historic season for viewership and exposure for artists and stuff this year. So it's been a heck of a journey, and we're just going to keep it going.